What's your name and musical profession?
I go by TheHonestGuy. I'm an R&B funk soul artist.
What inspired your musical journey?
A lot of it has been inspired by 70s, 80s R&B, a little bit of D'Angelo in the 90s, Aretha Franklin, uh, a lot of the soul, disco, funk of the early, like Kool and the Gang, and yeah, a bunch of other acts.
Can you tell us a bit about the inspiration behind your latest single, Hanging With You?
So Hanging With You, I wrote it last year. And it was just me thinking about a lot of times in the generation we live in now, there's a lot of rules that people put on love about what men have to do for women, women have to do for men, a lot of like gender roles. And I wanted to just write about a simple love song of just enjoying what it's like to be with your partner and just love for love's sake and not for any other reason.
Can you share some insights into your creative process when writing and producing Hanging With You?
So when I was writing Hanging With You, to be honest, I wrote it in the park. I wrote it in Toronto Island. And usually on the weekends in the summertime, I like to just enjoy uh, and be secluded. So I went to Toronto Island and I wrote the song. I was just very inspired watching all the lovers in the on the island together in the park, and that just kind of inspired me to write the song. And that was kind of the vibe I was in. So a lot of the song is very laid back, and it was purposeful because I wanted it to be a laid back song for love.
Toronto has a vibrant music scene. How has the city and its culture influenced your music and career as an artist?
I've been inspired by the sounds that come from the city. You know, Toronto's very diverse, so a lot of very different diverse backgrounds, which also allows for a lot of musical influences. So, for example, Afro beats, where I'm Nigerian, so Afro beats is a big influence on me personally in terms of just the chase for melody. I don't really usually use Afrobeat melodies in my music, but Afrobeats is very melody rich, so I try to make my music as melody rich as I can. And also just being able to learn about a lot of the artists that have come from here, like in terms of the R&B scene, like Glenn Lewis, have have inspired me, and also watching people like Drake, The Weeknd, Tory Lanez, Justin Bieber, and knowing one person that knows them personally kind of gave me the inspiration that, and motivation I needed to be able to be like, hey, I could work as an artist and live off it and thrive, because other people from this city have done the same thing and are one of the greatest artists in the world.
What artists or musicians have had the most significant impact on your musical style and development?
Ooh, I'd say D'Angelo right now. D'Angelo has pretty much been my greatest inspiration, which is crazy because I never liked him as I never liked the music as when I was younger, but I kind of look at it as like wine. So I didn't like wine or alcohol when I was younger, but my tastes have become more refurbished. And D'Angelo is pretty much the greatest inspiration and the greatest influence on my music right now.
Your journey as an artist must have some memorable moments. Can you share a particularly memorable or exciting experience from your musical career so far?
So the two that come to mind, I've had a lot this year. The 2023 has been a very momentous year for me in terms of music. The first is I was nominated for a Juno for traditional R&B and soul this year for my last EP, and that was amazing because I did that on as an independent artist, and I was among all these great artists in the city. Also, I used to watch the game when I was younger on BET, and there's a reboot this year, and one of my songs, "Lost to the Summer," is playing on the new season, so that was really great. It's a full circle moment.
Many artists in Canada have faced challenges and setbacks in their careers. Can you share a difficult moment you've encountered as a result of being an artist in Canada? Have you been able to overcome these challenges as you continue pursuing your passion for music?
I think the biggest challenge for me as a black artist is in the consumption of black music. The soul and R&B is biggest in the metropolis, so Toronto and Montreal and maybe Vancouver. And the biggest audience for the music is in the States. So the big challenge for me is reaching out to my fans and audiences through the yellow tape that you have to go through the red tape. I don't know if it's what tape it is, but you have to go through the humps. You have to go through to get it reaching out your fans. So like it's easier for me to tour here, but I have a less of an audience in Canada as much as I do in places like LA, Houston, Memphis. So that's a big challenge, but I'm still trying to work on getting like a visa so I can, go visit those places and have a little bit of shows.
What advice do you have for other young, aspiring Black Canadian musicians who are looking to break into the musical industry in Canada?
I think it's just like expanding your knowledge. I think Canada has a robust grant system that I personally am just starting to tap into, and I wish I knew a lot about earlier because there are tens to hundreds of thousands that the government is ready to give to artists. But a lot of times, as Black people, sometimes we're the lost to know. And I think it's just to take advantage of the robust grant system and to release the music. I think a lot of times as creatives, let our minds get boggled down by our own impression of what the music is or what our art is. But there's nothing like releasing it into the world. That's the only way you would know, because you don't want to be at home with 100 songs and nobody gets to hear them, and you never get that feedback that you need to keep refining yourself. So it's to take advantage of the grant system and to release the music however you can. Music is auditory, people hear it. So one of my favorite artists is Cleo Soul. She's released about 3 projects in the last couple of years that are doing tremendously well, but she has no music videos. So it's just testament to show that real music finds its way out there. So just to release it and take advantage of the grant system.
If you could have dinner with one artist or musician, who would it be?
It'd probably be D'Angelo also. It'd be D'Angelo just because I'm like, it's the sound that he created and the space that he created it is just amazing, and just to understand his creativity I think he's like an R&B musical genius, and it'd be great to take some lessons from him and just learn about his creative process.
For a fun question, which is better, jollof rice or rice and peas?
It depends on what with. If it's by itself, jollof rice, of course, it has a spicy flavor. But I love oxtail. Oxtail's my favorite, so oxtail I would go rice and peas. But maybe oxtail and jollof rice would do well.
Are there any plans for an album or EP in the near future? And can you give us a sneak peek into what listeners can expect?
So I was writing a lot more, very slow, sad soul. But in the last couple of months, I've just had like a bit of a resurgence in my creativity, and I'm writing a new project now called Velvet Soul, and it's a bit of a mid-tempo album, a project EP. I'm going to be releasing singles from it all throughout the next couple months, and hopefully it comes out April next year. It was supposed to come out in November, but I wanted to be able to give the best product, so I'm still refining it.
Lastly, where can your fans and new listeners find your music, and how can they stay updated on your latest releases and performances?
So the best way to stay updated is to follow me on social media, on Spotify, on Apple Music, or wherever you listen to music. It's The Honest Guy, THE, Honest, GUI. And it's all one word. And you could find my music out there or follow me on Instagram, The Honest Guy.